Yeah, hi. Today we are discussing about the designing pattern. How many type of designing pattern, and after that we will proceed for the singleton designing pattern. How can we use it, and what is the properties of the singleton designing pattern, and what is the steps, and how can we break it. Right. First we will understand what is the designing pattern. Why we are using designing pattern is a systematic way to write a code or to add the functionality into our existing code base. Right. And here the singular designing pattern is a three types. The first one type is creational designing pattern, and second one is structural designing pattern, and third one is behavioral designing pattern. In the structural designing pattern, first one we will understand what is the structural designing pattern, because in the structure we can create the object. Right. Now here in structural designing pattern, sorry, not a structure, creational designing pattern we are discussing about first. In the creational designing pattern, we will discuss about how to create the object. Right. Now same as here in the creational program, in the creational designing pattern, having again a four types. The first one is singleton designing pattern. This is most important. Builder designing pattern. Third one is factory designing pattern, and fourth one is prototype. But today we are discussing about only first one designing pattern is singleton designing pattern. Right. This is all the four types of designing pattern. Right. After today we are discussing about only one designing pattern is singleton. Singleton. We will check how can we use it, what is the steps, and how can we break it. Everything we will do that in code. Singleton designing pattern. Right. In the singleton design pattern, first thing we will understand what is the singleton designing pattern. A singleton designing pattern says that class have only one instance, that is called a singleton designing pattern. Basically means we will create only a single object of a class. Apart from other, we cannot create another object in a class. That is called a singleton. Why we are using here? Because in the database you cannot create again and again object of a class, right? Because there is more load to a database again and again if you create the object. That's why we are using here the singular designing pattern. Got it? Okay, first we are writing the definition of a singleton designing pattern. Singleton designing pattern ensure that class has only single instance. That means we can create only one object of a class, right? After that there is some steps to do that this task. Only we can create only single object of a class. Now the steps is, after that we will understand in code level ki how can we manage a singleton designing pattern. The some steps of singleton designing pattern is, the first step is private constructor. First we can make a private constructor. Why? Because when we are creating the object, the first constructor will be triggered, right? If you are calling a private constructor outside the class, no one will be outside the class, no one uh, out other class cannot be called, right? That means prevent instance from, basically we cannot create the instance of the class, right, using the constructor other class. After private, we can do a private constructor. After that, second one point is static instance. Static instance means inside a class we can create a static instance, because we need to store that the instance, only single object instance we need to store. That's why we are creating here instance for storing purpose. Store the instance of class. That's why we are creating a static instance. Now the third point is we are creating the static method, because when if we are not creating a object, a class, but the static method is directly triggered without creating the class, without creating the object of class, right? That's why we are using here a static method, public static method we are using here. And in this method they are providing the instance of a class, right? So this is a 3-step we can do that. This is a total 3-step. We can do that in our code base. Okay, we will open a notepad and we can do it. How can we can write a code of this one, right? Now here, this is our IntelliJ. We are using here IntelliJ. This is our main class. Inside the main class we are creating a one class, which is a singleton class, because we need to check 3 properties. The first one properties will be private constructor, right? Constructor will be private of this class. Okay, after that, after constructor, the second property will be static instance. Basically in the same class we are creating the static instance, private static singleton of singleton, right? We are creating the instance of this class, right? Because we need to store. Why static? Because we cannot create the object of outside of the class, because constructor is private. That's mean we have to create a object, we have to create a method, static method inside the class and call from outside, right? That's why we are using here directly. We can, if we are creating the object inside the class, we can call this one, this constructor, and directly if constructor is called we can store into our singleton instance, store the data into singleton instance, right? Now here we are creating a one public static, creating a method public static, and the return type is singleton get instance. After that, check here if our singleton, if already singleton is equal to null, that's mean here is we don't have any instance, we can create an object of this class, and after that, if outside the loop, if outside the if statement, we can print a singleton, right? This is the this is the very basic implementation of a singleton. Now here, let's suppose we are creating the object of singleton. This one equal to new singleton. We cannot, they cannot provide accessibility. Here is shown constructor is private. That's why they got an error. How can we do it? We are creating a static method, because we can call a static method without creating the object, because this is the class level, right? We are creating here. Now here we are taking the another singleton object to, we are checking the instance of both class. If instance of both class is same, that's mean only we are creating a single object. We cannot create a multiple object of a class. Here, if the statement is true, that's mean only one single instance will be triggered. Yeah, here is true, statement is true, that's mean output is true. That's mean in both the class we have a one object. That's mean, okay, I will just show you in Notepad. Now basically means we are creating a one object. After creating the object, this is the reference. The first one reference is, what is the name of reference here? Singleton 1, singleton 2, singleton 1 and singleton 2. Here we are creating the object is obj, this is obj, both are referred to same object. This is referred to same object, this is referred to same object, right? Because here we are already inside the code, already we are mentioned here, if your singleton is already exist, your instance is already exist, directly we can return our existing reference, right? Now this is the basic implementation. Now here is, this is very basic implementation. This is the first one, is very basic implementation. Now second one is eager initialization. Second one is eager initialization. This eager initialization is simple basically. Here we can hard code the object directly. Here we can write here in new singleton directly. Otherwise you don't do anything. This is fine. If you check again, same thing, because directly they will take the object here. Directly you are creating a singleton object here, and you are using, right? This is second one is eager initialization. Return is true. If return is false, that's mean the instance of both as singleton 1 and singleton 2 is different. Here is same, that's mean we are pointing to the same object, right? And third one is double check locking. Third one is very simple basically, double check locking. Basically we are using this for multi-threading environment. Multi-threaded environment. But there is now here there is no any use, but I will tell you how can we implement this. Basically we are using same thing here, or basic implementation thing we can use here, right? After that, let's suppose there is multiple thread is running in parallelly in our system. Here we are checking, here they are checking the thread, right? After that here we will be checking, but multiple thread is already running in the phase. All the thread will be come to here in line number 7, thread T1 comma thread 2, let's say 3 thread is running parallelly, all the thread come to here, right? But here we are using the synchronize keyword to stop this. synchronize keyword of this class singleton dot this singleton this class. What is this? What is the error? Oh, 1 second. Singleton, I think class. Oh, 1 second. 1 second, I need to check. Yes, I think this is singleton dot class. Yep, this is singleton dot class is fine. Now here, basically, now here, if your execution, this is the synchronized area. Inside the synchronized area, now here it will be check if your, again this is a double checking log, that's why, because we are checking 2 times here. Now here your thread will be checked here. If your thread is not, this is the synchronized area for the thread. Now here it will be check your singleton thread is, let's suppose total 3 thread will be running in parallelly. Now the 1 thread will be come inside the synchronized area. They will check your singleton, your instance is null. If your instance is not null, they will create an object. Otherwise, if thread 2 will be come into the picture, but thread 2 come into the picture, right? But at that point of time, already thread 1 is already create the object. Thread 2 directly come here. Why we are using synchronize? Because this block for this line number 7, they will not check directly. They will currently thread A is staying here at line number 7, after line number 7, right? And assume that thread 4 and thread 5 will be here, because we don't know thread 4 and thread 5 currently standing over here. That's why we are using here double check locking. We don't know about the thread timing. That's why we are using here double checking line number 8 and line number 10, right? Some of the thread is here already. If you are creating the object, now other thread will be directly cannot go inside here, directly go outside and return the thread, right? Now some of okay, sorry, here we are mentioning wrong thing. 1 second, cap lock is on. 1 second. Return singleton, right? Directly you can return the singleton object. Now after that, here is static volatile. We need to use here volatile. So basically here volatile is used for if your current thread is assigned, current thread is update the state, update a value of the singleton, then for the next thread will be immediately know about the value is already updated. They will pick the immediate value. Basically, let's suppose thread 1 and thread 2 will be running parallelly, and thread 1 is update a singleton value, singleton instance, and in thread 2 will take the immediate value. They are assigned immediately, right? That's why we are using here volatile. This is a thread. This is the concept of double check locking. After that, this is all the three method to implement that. And some of the times interview asks that how to break. Do you know about how to break a singleton pattern? Now here there is a two method. There is two method to break the singleton designing pattern. Is first one is serialization. The object, convert object into a JSON. After that, again you can, your object is already in the JSON format, and again you can deserialize into JSON to a object. So this is a deserialization serialization. And second one is reflection. What is the use of reflection? Now currently our constructor is a private mode, right? We can change the status of the constructor as a public, and directly you can create that. If you change the constructor as private to public, you can access directly, right? We can in the reflection directly they are change the accessibility of the constructor is private to public, and after that you can directly create the object. This is a two breaking condition of the singleton. Yeah, thank you. This is all about a singleton.